Syllabus review for Biology 2401 Human Anatomy and Physiology. My name again is Dr. B. It's otherwise known as Heather Brazier. You can find me if you need me for emergencies. The best way to contact me is by texting 4939-25787. And this is mostly for emergency situations. The best way to contact me is just to get me through your D2L account. Now, my office is on the second floor of the CSI room 612. And if you want to see me in my office, you can either make it by appointment or immediately following class. Now, this is Biology 2401 in the lecture. Course section is 6001 and the lab is 6002, and it should say summer 2018. I don't know why this one was not updated. Anyway, so with that being said, the one that you have should be. And so the lab is Mondays and Wednesdays from 8 a.m. to 12:15 p.m. And your lecture is completely online during the time that you would like. Now, what we have here is it's a 96 credit hour course. 8 hours a week, we will be finagling with lab on average. We have a couple days off. For instance, you have the July 4th, 5th holiday. So that's why the classes are a little bit longer than the typical 8 hours a week. And then you would have the corresponding time at home for lecture. Our lab room is CSI 130. If you want to know more about the information of the course, you can go to the course catalog at the link. And this gives you a quick detailed description, the catalog description of what the course is and essentially the student learner outcomes. Now, this is designed primarily for students entering healthcare careers. And so we're going to be focusing on human anatomy and physiology. You need to have online access, whether it's on campus or at home, and you will need to learn how to use both Desire to Learn or D2L and Mastering A&P. Mastering is the material that we will be using through Pearson. And Pearson's our book publisher, and so this is the lecture book that you need, and it's the Mirror book, and that is Human Anatomy and Physiology with Mastering A&P. And so Mastering A&P, you can either get this on the bookstore with a loose leaf, or you can order completely online, or you can even borrow a hardback copy. No matter what, you need the Mastering A&P code for homework. And this is your lab manual, and you can get it customized just for Biology 2401. This kind of gives you an idea of how to register for the course here. But if you go online, in the Intro to Course link, it gives you everything you need to know there. Now let's talk about absences. You're required to come to every single lab session. You get points for being there, participation points. You need to be in class within the first, we'll talk about tardies and stuff. You're considered late after 20 minutes, right? And that's considered an absence, and you won't get, sorry guys, you won't get credit for being there. Now, I understand everybody has issues, that there's those times where you're perfect all semester and just something bad comes up. That's really not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the people that are habitual on missing and don't ever tell me what's going on. So if you continually miss class, I will drop you from the course. So keep that in mind as you're going through. It won't be random. I will email you before, but if you fail to log in and do your work on the lecture part, or you don't come to class, those are considered absences, and you can't be successful if you're not attending and being active in the course. You have 20 minutes to get to class. After 20 minutes, you're considered absent. If you know you're going to be late and you have something like a doctor's appointment or something that's happening with your kids, just bring me some kind of proof of it, and I can be flexible with it. But this again is those people that are habitual, late every single morning. Guys, we all have to get through traffic. We all have to get here on time, right? Sometimes it's going to happen. I mean, sometimes I'm going to try to come to class and I'm going, I used to live in the Galleria. It was more of a problem when I lived downtown than now that I live in the area. But I understand. Sometimes I would be a few minutes late because if there was a wreck, I couldn't help it. Now, granted, it was a wreck that was pretty severe because I would always leave about an hour to an hour and a half before class time. It only took me 35 minutes to get here without traffic. So I would be either 30 to 40 minutes early, sometimes an hour early. And the only time I would be late is if something, like I said, was a really bad accident. So I totally understand that happening. But you need to be cognizant of how long it takes you to get to class and, what you need to do. And if there's something that the traffic is bad every morning, then unfortunately you're just going to have to leave early. I used to live in Texas City, had to be at University of Houston at 8 a.m. If I left after 6 a.m., I would be late for class. If I left at 6, I would be an hour early. What did I do? I just showed up super early every day because I couldn't afford to get zeros on my labs. So keep that in mind. Now, our course is designed for the following assessments. The lecture will be composed of 510 points. 300 of those are lecture exams. Realize there's a total of 4 lecture exams that's given out throughout the semester. Each exam is worth 100 points. I do drop the lowest, and right here it tells you exactly what each semester exam will cover, right? So the first exam will cover units 1 through 4, and what that composes of is the Unit 1, Introduction to A&P and Chemistry. That's Chapter 1 and some of Chapter 2. Unit 2 is Biomolecules and Cells. You see Chapter 2 and 3, or halfway through 3. Unit 3 is the rest of Chapter 3. Unit 4 has to do with small bits of 24 and 26, and you can see those in the actual tentative syllabus. If you look, the second semester will incorporate Unit 5, which is electrolyte and acid-base balance, tissues, and the tegumentary system, which is your skin. The third semester exam is cartilage and bone ossification, the bones, joints, muscles, a muscular system. And the fourth exam will be the special senses, that's like sight, hearing, smelling, touch, all of that, the nervous system, and the endocrine system. So you'll take all 4 exams, and the lowest one will automatically be dropped. Mastering homework is worth 130 points. There's 15 homework assignments that basically cover all the different units. Realize some of these, like Unit 13, have a couple different homeworks. So there's 15 homework assignments, and then essentially you get to drop the lowest 2. And so here they're showing you all the different homeworks that you have. And I've basically highlighted them, unbolded them, and bolded them based on the exam that they cover. And so these are due 11:59 p.m. the night before the exam that covers the homework opens, right? So you want to make sure to get everything done, and then you'll have those few days that the test is open, or depending on the due dates of those exams, to study and get ready for those. The dynamic study modules are the first thing that you want to do. The homework is the second thing, or one of the last things you want to do. The dynamic study modules are basically assignments that help cover the topic. So it's the sum of the highest dynamic study modules not to exceed 80 points. Now, it doesn't say anything about which lowest grades will be dropped or how many. Each unit or chapter has a different number of them. So one chapter may have 2 of them, one chapter may have 4, one chapter may have 5 of these, because they're subdivided based on the sections in each chapter. And if, for instance, each unit is worth the same number, each unit is worth 5 points. So what this helps me to do, instead of just saying I'll drop a unit, what I do is I just keep going until you hit 80 points, and then after that, I don't count them anymore, which means you can roughly drop anywhere from 2 to 4 of these modules. But it's kind of nice because if you say you complete 3 out of 4 for Unit 1 and you complete 2 out of 3 from the other, it'll drop each one of those individually versus just dropping the whole unit. So these, again, are due at 11:59 the night before the scheduled exam. Now, what's nice about this, guys, this is completion grade. So you do it, as long as you complete it, you get the points. The homework actually will deduct points. Now, this is nice too, because how the homework works, instead of you, as you're in there, you'll have a question. You can get multiple chances to answer it. Each time you answer it, it takes a small number of points off of it. This is nice because instead of it just being you answer it, you get wrong, you lose all the points, right? It will say, okay, well, you only lose a fraction of the points this time. Think about it again. Try it over again. So you can still, even if you miss one question, you could still make a decent grade because it only deducts small amounts each time. So that's the lecture. Now, the laboratory grade is worth 340 points, and that's 2 parts. So the first part are the weekly labs. There are 14 labs. Each are worth 10 points. 5 points incorporate actually being in a lab and being active. 2.5 points are making sure your pre-labs are in. 2.5 points are making sure your post-labs are in. These are due before you come into lab for that unit. These are due the next week after. Now, if we ever get done early, which I doubt that will ever happen, but if we get done early, that's why I always tell, take the extra time you have in class to finish some of the post labs, right? I won't accept any of these after 15 minutes of class. Basically, what that does is that if for some reason you're crazy and you're late, right, you'll get a 10% penalty on it if you turn it in after I get started in the class. But I'll still take them for only that small penalty all the way to 15 minutes. After 15 minutes of class, I will not accept them anymore. So make sure you're in class on time so you don't get any points deducted and that you're not terribly late so that I'll accept these. The lab practicals are the lab exams. They're worth 50 points each, and there are 4 of those. And the final is 150 points for the final exam, which is comprehensive and covers the whole semester. Now for mastering homework, semester exam, and the final exam. These are already up for the whole semester. You can work ahead if you like, guys. There's nothing stopping you from just plowing through it as fast as you want to. So you have access to getting everything done early if you like. Because you have so many days to turn these in, and they're already available, that I don't allow extensions, right? So if you don't get the homeworks done in time, you get zeros on them. So make sure that you are accessing those and keeping up with your work. Semester exams are the same thing. For instance, if you were in a face-to-face class, say Tuesdays and Thursdays we had lecture, you'd come in, you'd take the exam, say it was on a Tuesday at 8 a.m. You only can take it Tuesday at 8 a.m. So if something happens during that time period, then I'm more willing to work with you because you can only take it during that time. That's not the case here. The lecture part is pretty flexible. You'll have a few days to complete it. So if you're waiting to the last minute to take this exam and something bad happens, I'm less likely to be accommodating because you have several days to take it. So make sure that you are scheduling your time wisely so that you don't miss those. If it's something absolutely crazy that takes over a few days, I will let you retake those exams. You will have to take, especially the lab exams, right? You miss one of those. If you know you're going to miss it beforehand, I say come in. We will schedule a time before for you to take it. If something happens and you get in a wreck on the way here or something, some kind of emergency happens, you have to take that exam within 7 days of that missed exam. I would say before that, because this class is so fast. I will give you a different exam. The exam that you retake is going to be much harder if you take it after the class. So keep that in mind. And you're only allowed to do that for one laboratory exam. You cannot constantly do that. You will receive zeros on the other ones. Final exam is the same way. Again, if there's unfortunate circumstances, emergency or some kind, we can look at the case-by-case basis and see if you can't take it immediately, then you'll get an incomplete at the end of the course, and you'll have a certain amount of time to come in and take that test. As some of you are already aware of, lab experiments. The lab experiments for Monday are only set up Monday, Tuesday, and then they switch out, and then they're set up for Wednesday, Thursday. So if you miss some kind of, if you miss a lab, you can only make it up either on Monday afternoon or Tuesday, or if you miss Wednesday, Wednesday afternoon, Thursday. You can't wait till the next week or later in the week if it's Monday, because they put them up and take them down, right? On top of that, I only teach this one class. I teach a general bio course as well, but it's not the same class. So then if you want to make up this class, we have to contact the other instructor and get permission because there's limited space in every class. So keep that in mind. It's best if you know you're going to miss early to contact me so that we can meet with somebody and figure out what you're going to do. But just keep that in mind. Make sure you're putting away all cell phones and not talking. If it's an emergency, just let me know if something happens in the class or if you have kids or anything and you need to leave because you have an emergency, you need to take the phone. I don't have a problem with that. Just give me a heads up. So if you leave and you're gone for a long time, that I'm not worried about you. The first week or so, I'm going to be trying to learn everybody's name. But after about the middle of the second week, I'll start realizing who people are. And so, it's just let me know what's going on. So if you're having to text on the phone or you're having to leave for phone calls, that I know it's because it's an emergency. Now, if you have any issues with me at all in the semester, here is the interim Dean of Math and Science, which is Martha Donnelly. She's actually my supervisor. The department chair is a supervisor for the part-time faculty. So you can give her email or a call. Now, I always ask if there's issues, come to me first. If you go and email her without talking to me, she's going to refer you back to me because that's the best way to fix problems, is to communicate back and forth with the instructor. And I will give you this advice for any class you ever take in the future. Now, if you're not happy with the outcome or you feel there's still an issue, go ahead and contact her. Just realize she is going to talk to me as well. She's going to listen to your side. She's going to listen to mine. And then she's going to either have us come together and talk. You're going to have to talk to me, though. That's the point. She's not going to make some crazy decision without having your input and my input as well. So keep that in mind. And then, we'll figure something out or settle it through there. But I always like to get situations fixed before it ever reaches there. And I've not really had much of a problem with that. So this kind of gives you a breakdown really easily for you to see what your grade would be. 300 points are for the exam. 130 points go for the homework. 80 points is for the study modules. 140 is for the lab assignments. 200 are for the lab practical. And 150 points is for the final, for a total of 1,000 points. I go by points, not percentages, just to let you know. So if you want an A, you need to score more than 900 points. You want a B, you need to score more than 800, and it'll be less than 900, so on and so forth. Now, if you have an 899.99, I will let you know you will have a B. I don't round. Just to let you know, I don't give you your grade at all. I just assign them. I assign them based on the grades you earn throughout the course of the semester. I have very specific assessments I give you. And then you earn points on those assessments as you do them. So I say do not expect a curve or grade that will be rounded up. Your final grade reflects an entire semester of effort. So make sure you work really hard the whole semester to get what you want. Now, just to let you know, I do a small amount of extra credit. So if you are at, for instance, 899.99, well, if you've done the extra credit, it's going to be worth more than that 0.01, right? So if this is your original grade and you do one extra credit that's worth like 5 points, then you're at an A already. Now, if you've done the 5 points extra credit already and you score 899.99, you do realize you would have not been there. You would have been 894.99. So that's the reason why I give enough extra credit that it can help to bump up your grade more than that 0.5% if I rounded, right? And then if you did all the extra credit and you're at here, well, technically you wouldn't have been there without the extra credit. So that's why, just to kind of give you an idea why I don't round. You'd much rather have the extra points than to round. Make sure that if you're not happy with your grade that you withdraw prior to W day. If you don't, there essentially will be a W on your credit, and there is that 6 drop rule. I'm not going to go over that. Don't expect, if you stop attending the class and do not withdraw, you will receive an F from the course. Now, throughout it, I'm really big on academic progress. So if you're not completing your work, guys, you're not turning stuff in, you're failing all your tests, I'm going to email you and say, hey, listen, you're not doing really well. You need to come sit down and talk to me, or I'm going to drop you, because I want you to change whatever you're doing so that you pass. If you look at my rated professor, and I have no problem looking at, you going through there, and some people love me, some people hate me. It's not about whether you like me as a person or not. It's about me preparing you for the steps after this course, me giving you the content you need, and me giving you the skills you need to be successful in other classes. And so, with that being said, if you're not passing, I need to talk to you and say, hey, okay, what are you doing right now? If you look at me and you go, I'm going to be honest, Dr. Brazier, I wait till 6 p.m. the night of every day that the stuff is due, and I'm just not getting it done. I am sorry. Then I'll say, okay, let's talk about making a schedule. When are you going to start doing this stuff? Because you realize it's too much work to wait to the last minute. And we'll do that. If you're like, hey, I'm studying all the time and I'm reading my book all the time, I don't know, I'll say, well, let's look at this. Are you actually looking at the PowerPoints and focusing on them first before you look? Are you getting too lost in the details? What's happening? So that's my point with that. Now, if you don't ever respond to me, you never make an appointment, then you will not be dropped without me informing you. I will email you and say, I am dropping you this day. Now, if you don't want to be dropped, you need to make an appointment and convince me not to drop you at that point. But it's not going to be, if you don't get an email from me, don't expect me to drop you, because I won't. The rest of this, you can go through and this is the standard, the 6 drop rule. If you drop more than 6, you'll start paying out-of-state tuition, so be careful with that. If you need to talk to an advisor, if you need any kind of help with tutoring, counseling, any of those kind of things, you can give those, you can call that phone number to get hours and locations. Counseling deals with both. If you need counseling on career planning or disability accommodations, any of those things, personal issues, you can contact that phone number that is right here, right? The Assistant Technology Lab is available if you need to convert text to speech, magnify anything, use Braille. That's on the 8th floor. The Writing Lab will help with anything if you need to write papers and submit them. The library is on the 8th floor as well, and that can tell you all the system policies for the campus at that link. Now, I'm really big about academic integrity, so if you fail, if you are dishonest in any way, I take that extremely serious. So no plagiarism, no cutting and pasting from the internet, No having or copying someone else's homework, right? None of that crap, guys. Don't fabricate sources, anything, right? I don't mind if people work in groups on their regular work, but you need to be contributing and you need to be doing your own work. If I find this out, you can have additional class requirements imposed. You can receive a F or 0 for the exam or assignment that you've cheated on. I can give you an F for the whole course if I want to. You can be withdrawn from the course or a program if you're part of a program here, or you can be expelled from the college system and it forever goes onto your transcript. Academic dishonesty is a big deal. You go to a 4-year university, you actually go through a whole trial with your peers. It's very stressful. And I've seen this happen with classes I've taught with people who went through and plagiarized or cheated. Please don't do it, because if you do, chances are I will find out. Student behavioral expectations. Be respectful to your classmates and be respectful to me. If you're not, we will have a talk with people in student services. I will ask you to leave the course, and you will not be allowed back in my course until we have a conversation with them. And I agree. If that's the case, there's going to be some stipulations on what you have to do, or the behavior you have to display to get back into my class. We are all trying to learn here. And the best way to learn is have a welcoming and comfortable environment. You can not have that if you are not being gracious to the people around you or me. So some of the things that you can do to make the environment very warm and welcoming is turn off all your electronics and put it away unless it's to further your academic progress. For instance, if you have your phone out because you're taking pictures of models and specimen, that's fine. If you're sitting in the back of the class basically texting your boyfriend and girlfriend or your friends about what you're going to do later in the day, that is very distracting to the people around you, and it's unfair. If you're going to do that, just leave, right? The first offense, if I notice you're doing it, I'm going to warn and I'm going to allow you to stay in the class, but I'm going to be mindful. The second or additional offenses you have, I'll just ask you to leave, and you're going to get a 0 for the labs those days, right? If I notice you're using anything during exams, you will get a 0, because the only thing I can see is that it seems like you're cheating. So make sure not to have any of those around anywhere while you're taking your exams. I ask that laptops are only permitted during class if you're doing an assignment on them. I ask that you don't use them to take notes if you're in class taking notes. And you can read the paper about that. The reason why I put this in there, I had a guy one time during class actually watching ballet during class. How did I find that out? Well, of course, every time I walked by him, he put it down so I wouldn't see him. And this was a guy in his late 40s, just to let you know. But the problem is the people behind him were being distracted by it. They could see these people jumping back and forth in front of their eyes. So, guys, a lot of times these warnings on behavior are more to protect the people sitting around you from you, right? I don't care if you make the conscious decision to come to class and not learn a single thing. I want you to learn. I want you to be a part of the class. Obviously, I would not be an instructor if I didn't. But we're all adults. So you make the decision on whether or not you want to be actively participating, learning the material, utilizing your time, all of that. If you choose not to do that, you're a grown adult. I don't care. What I do care is if you distract the people around you who have decided to take the class serious. And that's why I put these together. So additional offenses, I'll just ask you to leave again. I'll give you 0s for the day. You can't bring any friends or spouses or children in lab because of safety issues. If you're disruptive, that means you're talking to other students, you're texting, you're sleeping, you're using the internet on your laptop for stuff that's not for class. Any other activity that I feel is disruptive to the learning environment, I could remove you from the class. If it's a continual problem, I'll talk to who I need to talk to, and I'll just get you removed from the class. Now, granted, guys, these are me being preempt. I feel like it's very important for me to give you my expectations at the beginning of class so you are not confused. That's why I do this. So just to be, it's not that I have a big problem with it all the time, but it has happened in the past. If you're disrespectful, rude, confrontational, or have any inappropriate conduct, and that's as perceived by me, guys, it's not going to be tolerated. If I see this, I'll remove you from class, right? No problem at all, and we will talk to the coordinator before I allow you back into the class. It's just, I'm not going to deal with it. If you're confused, if you have concerns, that's completely appropriate. You can come to me and talk to me, or your classmates around you. It's how you talk to those people that are important. And I've seen people be extremely condescending and rude to students that they were working in a group with. And I'm not going to allow that to happen in my classroom. So just keep that in mind and be nice. If you have a disability, you can call the number if you're 504. And if you are, then you need to get the appropriate paperwork for me if you need accommodations. Here are links for your safety and security. Tells you a little bit about the computer virus protection, equal opportunity. Now, FERPA is the Family Educational Right and Privacy Act. Don't have your parents contact me to get your grades. If they need your grades, they can talk to the advisors, and the advisors can contact me. But I don't care if they even have the release form because I can't prove that it is a valid form. I'm going to tell you to go talk to them. So if you are iSchool or anything of that nature, please go through iSchool or have your parents go through iSchool or any other school that you're going to get the information. You can read the rest on your own. So at this point, this is our tentative schedule, and this is how it comes together. This is the lecture part. This is the lab. So this was Monday. So these are the things that we're going to complete, right? This is the only part in the course introduction just so that you can sign up and get ready for Tuesday. So Tuesday, you should complete Unit 1 and Unit 2. That's Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 and 3 or halfway through 3. So what you're going to do is you're going to do the brief dynamic study modules first, and then you're going to do the homework, okay? And that'll get you prepped and ready for the next exercise. So then on Wednesday, you're going to come in, and these are the assignments that we're going to do. Now, if you notice, there's no pre-lab here, but they tell you pre-lab here and pre-lab here. So these are due before class, okay? Now, we finished these the week before, so if you see this check your recall is due that day that you come in. So post-labs are due the class period after. Pre-labs are due the class that we're doing it. And then if you continue down, Thursday, you have Unit 3 and 4. Now, we have 4-day work weeks, basically, when we're here, right? And so Fridays, the college is closed, okay? So keep that in mind. Now, on here, if you said the homework and all that is due at 11:59 the night before the exam opens. So if you look, here's going to be our first lab test. This is the lab you're going to do. And then if you notice here, you have exam 1, right? And it says it's due on 6/13. And so all of this stuff that's here is going to be due June 11th at 11:59 p.m. Okay? As you notice, you have another unit due because if you were in class with me, we take an hour and a half to do the exam and then an hour and a half or so, actually longer than that because they're over 4 hours. So I do an hour and a half for the exam and then there'll be almost 2 hours, an hour and 45 minutes for the lecture. So if you notice that there's some lecture that's happening. And then your next exam is going to be on June 21st. So all of these that are from Unit 567 is going to be due June 20th at 11:59. And then this is the date it opens. This is the date that it closed. Now, this is the official day it opens. All of your exams are going to be up and running at the end of this week. Some of them are already up. It's just there was issues with me scheduling in the testing center. So the test can be done either online using a lockdown browser and a webcam, or you can go to the testing center for any of these exams. And as you go through, you can see all of the different dates, and it kind of gives you an idea. Now, the highlights basically are the weeks. So you can see the first week is in gray, second week's white, third week's gray, fourth week's white, fifth week's gray, last week is white. So you can see everything that's due here and kind of how it's laid out. So that, folks, is your syllabus review, and you can go through and read it very detailed. If you need any questions answered, please just contact me and I'll do the best I can to give you the right information. Anyway, I will see you later.